Hello. I'm just going to wait for 15 or 20 people to get on, or two or one. Still zero. Meanwhile, I'll do my hair. Look, this is a clip, and now I'm taking a scrunchie, you know, and I'm putting it here. I'm sure it's been done before, but make it like a little bit more decorative. All right. And I've got to do something with my hair. I'm thinking about getting a pixie cut, which actually looks okay on me. I've had pixie cut before. Super like shaven doesn't look good, but um like shaven all the way, no. Bald, no. But pixie, where it's a little longer, on the top and maybe a little shorter on the sides, sort of like this. Because otherwise, when I have long hair, what do? I just put it up all the time. And I don't feel like taking care of it. Now I've been trying to use product in it, and it just makes it oily. So product. Anyway, anyone here yet? One person. Hello. All right. I can't stream to Twitch right now because apparently something's wrong with the card I'm using. Yeah, I'm broke. I'm broke, like usually. But I'm obviously working. Dog who's sick. I've got to travel to Argentina for some legal matters. I've got my parents. They can be alone for the day. That's fine. But I can't even leave the dog alone with them anymore. They can't take care of her. I know they try, but they can't take care of her. They don't. My mother doesn't understand, and my father's just—he's old. He's elderly. I'm old. I don't want to say old, but that's what we are. So my dog is sick, but she's getting better. She's only 2 years old, so going on 3. She'll be 3 in March. So, she's a young dog, but she was born sick. She was born with some issues. But so apparently she has kidney issues. Those of you who are following me on Instagram who might be interested in knowing. It's either that or she had a very severe urinary tract infection that nobody knew about. I kind of suspected it because she was peeing a lot. And when dogs pee a lot, and they're not male, especially, and male dogs might pee a lot because they're marking their territory. But she's a female dog. It's like she always had to pee. And that's an indication that it could be a urinary tract infection. You can't know until you go and have her tested. But so she just was peeing a lot, and I had just had her spayed, and the doctor didn't put her on antibiotics, which in hindsight, I should have said, why aren't you putting her on antibiotics after the spay? He might have had his reasons, but since I suspected, because that was happening before the operation, I suspected she might have a urinary tract infection. I hope I'm not boring you. If you like animals and you're into vet stuff, um, I suspected she had it. I said, oh, great. She's going in for a spay anyway. They're going to give her antibiotics after, so it'll clear it up if she has one. But so when she came out and he didn't have her on antibiotics, I thought to ask him, and probably I should have. I should have just said, look, uh, aside from the spay, prior to the spay, and I should have told him that before the spay, actually. See, it's all stuff that I suspected and I didn't say anything. And so in hindsight, I might have saved myself and the poor dog a lot of suffering had I just mentioned that I thought she might have a urinary tract infection. Maybe the doctor would have then said, no, she doesn't, never mind, or asked me a few questions and decided she didn't. But even so, I didn't even say it. So anyway, long story short, she got really, really, really sick, and then it affected her kidneys, which hopefully is temporary. The doctor, I took her to a specialist, cost a lot of money, which hurts me to spend when I know that there are people that need that money, and you spend on a pet, but you love your pet. But I already decided, okay, I spend this large chunk of money on credit. Obviously, I don't have the money. It's on a credit card, which that's another thing I have to deal with now. Fortunately, with my parents. I don't know if you're someone who's followed me a while or know me from new. I care for my elderly parents in their home. So I care. I mean, care for them. I don't care if they're both mobile, they both eat, they both, shower themselves, I'm just basically here to make sure everything's okay. It's not really hardcore care. Even so, I have a roof over my head thanks to that. They like having me around. I'm helpful. I've been having the house fixed. I've been looking for, taking bids from people and doing all that stuff, which I never wanted to do for myself, but it's kind of cool doing it for someone else. It feels like a job. I'm not getting paid for it, but contract, I have to get a permit because we have to paint the house now. That's exciting. It takes like 2 or 3 months to get a permit where I live just to paint your house. It's like very strict. Some people like that because here I go off on my tangents. When you live in homeowner association, places with homeowner associations or community, so all that stuff, sometimes they'll implement rules. This happens mostly in condos. It doesn't usually happen in houses. But if your municipality has the rules, then you still have to follow the rules of the city. Anyway, long story short. So my city has like rules, what color you can paint your house, what kind of trucks can park in front of your house at night. Work trucks, it sounds very classist if you analyze it, and it probably is. For example, the kind of trucks, air conditioning repair, or any kind of repair, those kind of trucks with the name, landscaping, all that stuff, they're not allowed to be parked on any property that's visible. They're not allowed to be visibly parked. So you can have one of those, but you can't visibly park it at night. Between certain hours. I think during the day, of course, you can, because that's when people come and do the work and all. And after a certain hour of the evening, they must be done, And that helps a few things. It keeps the neighborhood pretty. That's one of the reasons. Another thing is keeping the noise down, because if there's a construction work going on at night, can you imagine the neighbors would be screaming our heads off, So they're not allowed to park their trucks there. They can still do the work, if they want to work at night and not make noise. There are sound things. Hi, Tatiana. Oh my gosh, you won that award. Whoever else is watching, she won an award. I will post it on Facebook when they let me back in. I think I have 3 more days I'm banned on Facebook because I argue a lot on Facebook. So I say things that are not nice sometimes. Anyway, but yeah, the first thing going to do when I'm going to probably post something political that's mild. And then, hi, Desmond. Yeah, no, look on her Instagram. I follow you on Instagram, Tatiana. Yeah, that's amazing. These up and coming filmmakers, I get to see you before you you may be already well known. I made the mistake once of saying how I discovered this singer. And he's not world famous, but he was pretty well known. It wasn't me discovering him. It was me discovering him for myself, but other people were well aware of him. But I'm just thinking, young, new, and up and coming, But obviously, if you've won an award, you're already pretty well known. Anyway, getting back to my homeowner association thing. So, one person. Oh, see, that's weird, because why does it say I have one person? I'm only on YouTube today. I'm not on Twitch. Apparently, one of the payments didn't go through on StreamYard, so I'm back to the basic plan. But I'll figure it out, because I like streaming to Twitch as well, especially when I'm doing those Excel things. I'm trying to fold clothes. That's what I'm doing. That's why I keep repeating and repeating. I'm a little OCD. I don't know if you can see. I did some laundry. Anyway, the rules are very strict. Getting back to my thing. So to get a permit, I have to tell them what color I'm going to use. There are only certain. It's a very broad palette. It's not like you can only choose white and yellow. It's a broad palette, but you have to choose within that palette of colors that they allow. Now there are people probably who have, like I have a garage in the back. I have to get a permit for that too. But if I were to get someone in hiding to paint the garage and nobody sees, and the neighbors probably don't care, I could probably get away with painting parts of the house that are not visible. Although I mean, I'm not that paranoid yet, but sometimes there are helicopters going over. But it's a city. We're in Miami, so it's a big city. There may be helicopters. There may be rich people who take helicopters to work. I actually I tempted a place once where the owners lived in the fanciest part of Miami, and they would take the helicopter whenever they had to go into work, because they would, of course, they were the owners of the place. So they would sometimes just work from home, give a few orders, and live their life of leisure. But sometimes they had to come in to talk to the manager of the building or whatever. They owned the building. And then the helicopter will be landing around 10, and then we're going to be needing the security to go up and accompany it was like this whole to do. And I temped there for a few months. It was kind of cool. I met the people, just normal people, but I met them in passing. They came through the office. I was the receptionist. That's another nice thing about going off on my other tangent. You know how I'm always telling people, oh, you should start out as a temp when you're right out of college and you don't know what you're going to do. Sometimes people don't. Some people know what they want to do young, and some people graduate college. Maybe they even majored in something, but it was sort of like me. I majored in French because it's like, well, I had to pick something. I really had no intent, and I wasn't interested in anything in college, in learning, other than just doing what I wanted to learn. And I loved going to class. I will admit that I loved going to class, but I hated doing the work outside of classes. I liked the interesting things I learned, but then I didn't feel like studying. I just retained what I thought was interesting. And anyway, that was the kind of college student I was. I was probably the kind of college student out there screaming and rioting for Hamas back at that time, thinking that I'm so, good. And that's why I got so furious over these, because a lot of those kids, I see myself when I was in college. Dumb, I'm not saying all, but a lot of them are just grown teenagers. Like I said, you really don't mature in the United States, especially, handed to us basically, and yeah, that's arguable. I know, but the kids mature here around, I'd say you can't really start considering thinking of them as adults, like personally 23, 24. And even then, these days, I'm wondering some of them, but 18-year-olds, they know nothing. 18, 21, even where drinking age, you're still kind of dumb. That's when you start drinking too much and driving your car. 3 kids just got killed. They had graduated high school just now. One of them had already been drafted, I think, to a basketball team, like famous. It just happened in Miami. The kids weren't famous, but they were 3 I think basketball or football. I saw the news and I get so upset. I just, it's when things happen to youth, and I tell myself it's just their dumb ignorance, because they're just, I call them dumb. I mean that, and I should use another word. It's their youth, that they're still young. They're still, in quotes, ignorant because of their youth. I'm not saying they're ignorant always, but anyway. So these darn kids, apparently, now I don't know if they just graduated. They must have been college then, because there was alcohol involved, unless there was underage drinking also. And it was a whole very tragic, with which parents, people in school, in public service announcements, we're constantly telling you, kids, don't drink and drive. If you have even one drink, I would say, some say, okay, one drink. I would say if you drink at all, if you drink one drop, don't drive. You young people. Older people, we can maybe have a drink and we can handle it, and we're aware that we can kill someone. And those children killed themselves. I call them children. I don't want to look it up because I don't want to get too upset, but so maturity for US kids, I would say 23, 24, and only after they've had a real job. Because some of you are not even working. Some of you don't only want to do volunteer work. Oh, just come on, guys. And I'm talking to the universal you, they call it. You doesn't mean all of you. I know there are many of you that are not like that. Tatiana, you're an example for sure. Desmond, I don't know more. I see on your social media that you're working, that you, I think, you're a good example to lead after. So really, I'm yelling at whoever's not listening to me now, but you guys can pass the message on to your peers. I'll tell it to you the harsh way, and you tell it to them nicer. Uh, but yeah, don't drink and drive. That's the basic message. And you're mature at 21 or 18. Oh, at 18, it was 18. Oh, guess what happened to me though? Because it was drinking age was 18 all over the US when I was young. And I was born in December. So when I graduated high school, my friends could drink and I legally still couldn't. I was still 17. So of course I couldn't. I mean, I could. You can get it because if your friends can get it, they give you some. But I couldn't go into bars because they would card you. And my friends could go in. And mine clearly said I had a few months to go, so I couldn't get in. Occasionally I'd kind of sneak in or, but I didn't go out much anyway. But like, I remember 2 times after graduation that, all the graduates were going to the bars because they could. It was 1980. The drinking age was 18. But anyway, then shortly after they moved it up to 21. So people who could drink then suddenly couldn't. It must have been worse for them. But like, I was just getting it and they upped it. And then college, same thing happened to me. So I was in college. I couldn't drink it. Like, I couldn't drink. I was thinking, okay, by the time I get to college, I'll be able to drink and go to, and go to the bars and stuff. So, I couldn't. So they raised the age. I couldn't drink all through college. Legally, I did get a few parties in, but I was more willing to go out back then when I was younger, but I've never been someone that wanted to go out in the loud scene and all that. But it was, in college, you kind of do because the friends are doing it and whatever. So, and then I remember there were bars that would give you a bracelet. So if you were 21, you would wear one, or over, you'd wear one bracelet. And if you were under 21, you would wear another color bracelet. So then we could, but then it was kind of, like, everybody knows that I'm under 20, so then there was always something. You couldn't just freely go. So then, but I had that year in Paris, and in France, drinking age was lower. So in Paris, I did the junior year abroad. So Paris, I could just, go wherever I wanted, and it was fine. And I occasionally did get drunk, but I don't know, because my friends did it. So, I did it, it's kind of silly, but plus I enjoyed the feeling. I won't lie. I mean, it feels good, until the next morning. Any college people here? I know Katiana, Desmond, there's a third person there. You don't have to, if you want to be anonymous, that's fine. But, where was I going with this? Anyway, I'm contracting the painters. I got to fill out this whole application. And then, see, I have to be a contract. Like, I have to, and then you have to tell them the scope of the work. So I guess I'm going to have to tell them, well, the house will be primed, and so I'm going to have to Google how, like, what to see words, I'm sure, like, how do other people do it? And, and it could take 2 or 3 months to get the permit, if I'm lucky. And that's someone who doesn't know what she's doing, but that's someone who knows what they're doing. Could take 2 or 3 months to get the permit. And imagine me, so it could take even longer, but I've decided I'm doing it. I'm going to be the contractor of my own house, of my own parents' house. And it's kind of fun. And I know a few people to call, that can paint, I had some people paint the kitchen. They did a good job, and they're subcontractors by coincidence, but I met them directly through the ministry. So I'm going to, I don't know if you guys know or not, probably you do. I am a member of a ministry here in Miami. I don't do much. I go to the meetings and take minutes. I really could be doing more, but I don't. I just graduated college. I've been watching your channel. Oh, yay! I know there's a bunch of you that have been following me since I was doing the sewing videos and see me, not in a bad way, but yeah, I did the ASMR, and then, yeah, so I like that because, you see the people. Anyway, that's a whole other thing. Yeah, if some of you get some advice from me that you think is, and if some of the things I say you don't agree with, oh, well, she's a crazy old lady. Let's leave that part in the, And let's just take the good parts that I'm learning from her. So yeah, if you just graduated college, learn Excel. I hope you're going to my Twitch or to Ashy Felicia's, my channel. I think you can find the link here. Here I am pushing Excel. Excel, if you know Excel, you'll find office work very easy. And if you get another job that's not office work, it's very useful to have Excel. Warehouse manager. If you want to manage a warehouse of things in and things out and what went out today and keeping track. And I can't think of any job where Excel isn't useful. An attorney that has a million different, there's this thing that attorneys get. They can get like a temporary legal license in another state. Because, you know, as an attorney, you then have to specialize, and you don't have to specialize. You have to get whatever in one state. You have to be certified. I think there's another word, but sometimes you need to work in a case that it's involving a few states, so you need to get, you know. And I knew a guy who had he had one like in every state. Another guy I temped for. And we were going crazy, like, where's that one? So finally I did a list of all the states and all his, all right, I'm exaggerating. It wasn't all the states. But it was like 15 or 16 states where he had gotten that thing, and they were still valid because they expire quickly as well. But he said, as long as I got it, I want to keep them active so I can, you know, that was his thing. So finally I did that. Plus I think he'd even gotten one in another country. And then there's a whole bunch of other licenses that you have to get. So, you know, for example, keeping track of your own guest lists here at home. You have a Christmas list of people you want to send presents to, their address. I can't think of anything that Excel can't help you with for any job. I mean, give me a job and I'll give you a use for Excel. It's basically what I'm saying. And when they see Excel on your resume, it's coming back, because they'd taken it off for a while. It was for a while where, like, I've noticed definitely in these past 10, 15 years, since my divorce is when I got back into the workforce, I noticed that so I don't know at what point Excel dropped off. Spreadsheets, you know, any kind of spreadsheet, Google Sheets, in MSN, it's called something else. They're free applications. Excel, you have to buy the package. Excel was the first one, but now you can do it for free on similar programs. But if you learn Google Sheets, oh, I'm sorry. Who am I talking to? If you learn Google Sheets or Excel, Google Sheets is free. Excel isn't, but if you work in an office, you'll have access to it. MSN has one. MSN in their OneDrive, which is similar to the Google Drive. MSN has their version of it. If you want to support MSN, which is a more liberal, you know, you can boycott even on the free stuff. I don't know what Google is, but Microsoft is, well, Microsoft News, MSNBC News, you know, is liberal. So anything associated with MSN is likely going to be supporting a liberal cause if you're someone who cares about that, you know. I use Google Sheets because I find it easier, but it's called OneDrive. OneDrive. And I do have an MSN. Gosh, I have that Microsoft. It's MSN email account since the 1990s. So you get storage this way. Oh, look, you can get more storage for $1.99 a month, the one on OneDrive. Maybe I'll do a sheet over. Maybe I'll transfer that sheet that I did on Google Sheets over, copy it and put another one on OneDrive for the people who use OneDrive. But wait, let me find that one. So OneDrive is the basic, but then let me see the name of the actual. Oh, here we go. So the name of the one on OneDrive is called Books, OneDrive Live, Personal. Wait, what's the name of it? Wait a minute. Right here. Go home. Oh, it's trying to get me to sign in. Oh, what do we feel like right now? Oh, it let me in. Okay, it's called Excel in Microsoft. Oh, right, because Microsoft Excel. Duh. Okay, so it's actually called Excel in Microsoft. So you would do, okay, I'll just put it here for anyone who's even listening. UJ. So if you use Microsoft, and then I'll stop here because I didn't mean to, you said you graduated college and here I am forcing advice on you. If you use MSNBC and you want to support liberal causes, see, I'm trying to be neutral. I'm offering both. I don't know if Google would be, see, I say liberal causes only because MSNBC is a liberal news channel. So I'm going to assume everything is, Bill and Melinda Gates, they're divorced now, but, Bill Gates is usually supporting liberal things. So, so that otherwise it's Google Sheets, which is the one that's linked, getting back to whatever I was talking about. Well, that's basically it. I'm just giving an update. What, Ryan, actually, I mean, a couple of you once in a while check in on me because even if I'm not on here, I'm posting. I'll be posting on Facebook. I was banned for 2 months, you guys. I didn't even say anything that bad. Come on. But anyway, and I had been banned for a month prior. And my first day back, I got into an argument. I was banned for 2 months. So, but okay, granted, they're not canceling my account. So that's a good thing. That's allowing free speech. It's just moderating me from speaking. So I'll get back on there. I still think I should have a right to say whatever I want. And sometimes being too polite, people don't get the message. But I'm going to try to be I'm going to try to tone it down a little bit. I'm not going to tone it down that much, though, because I still believe that people need to be shocked into reality. But I'll hold off a little bit. I'll try to word it differently. I wasn't being very careful, I'll admit. And I got into an argument with a woman, because I think this is now between women. Men need to butt out of it. And feminists and non-feminists and women from different cultures and different parts of the world need to start hashing it out among ourselves. Women. Trans women maybe need to sit this one out. I don't know. I'm not judging or whatever, but maybe trans women need to sit this out and let the generally accepted women. I'm not saying trans women aren't women. I still am on the fence about it because I believe that I have met women who were born men, not in person, but like online, that, conversing with them, I feel more comfortable than conversing sometimes with actual women. So I don't know what to call that. Perhaps it is the masculine injection, because whether or not you want to admit it, if you were born a man and are now a woman, the hormones are going to try to come back. You can take the hormones to subdue the male hormones, but the male hormones are going to try to come back, and they might be what some women find comforting. As a matter of fact, I find it comforting that many times, the thing is, I got into an argument with a trans woman once. That's actually what sparked me on this whole craziness of, because that woman told me, shut up, because we were arguing online, not in person. And she said, shut up, just shut up. She wrote, the way I'm reading it, I interpret it like, just shut up. Your opinion doesn't matter. You're a piece of, B, whatever. But it got very catty. But you see, I like that. I don't like being catty with women, just barely. If you're going to get catty with me, I'm going to go catty all the way, like many times gay, trans, either, I don't know, trans women, but the drag queens will sometimes be super catty as part of the theatrics. You'll go in to see a drag show. Hope I'm not scaring anyone, but I have been to a drag show. I expose myself to a little of everything. Doesn't mean I enjoy or they follow or don't. I actually did enjoy the drag show. It was very entertaining. I don't believe it's for kids. I believe drag shows are for adults. That is one thing. I don't believe that, we can argue on that too. I don't believe that drag queens should be going into children's school. I don't know. I don't know, because there we go again. I saw a video the other day of See, drag queen is different from a trans woman. There we go. I got to find that video because I really liked the children were crying and fighting and throwing a little bit. There were 3 children involved. And she went in. I'm going to find that video because I really liked the way she handled it. She was very, so you have to take it on a case by case basis because the way that person, woman, whatever, I still am not sure of the term. I'd like to not hurt anyone's feelings. Someone might be watching this after. Ryan might be watching. Or anyone else. The way that person handled those 3 kids, I liked. Whatever, I don't care if she was trans, drag, woman, man, I don't care what she or he identified. I liked the way. So see, that would be a person I would allow around my kids if, maybe if I got to know them better. And so I would, but yeah, but see, I got to do that with everyone because you have people like, well, I don't want to put myself out as normal, but you have people who look normal and you leave them with your kids. Maybe, oh, of course she would never, or he would never do. I know him. And it turns out they are worse than many of the people who don't look normal. So you really do have to, and that's helped me seeing the way that person handled the kids made me realize, just now talking. So see, sometimes me blabbing on and all helps me more than it helps others. Let's find that video as long as we're on. But anyway, 2 of you still here, and I'm going to hang up soon. But what was that video? And gambling, and there was a topic that I was on that you wanted to continue with. Just guide me back to the right direction because I don't want to bore you all. Let me find that video. Let me see. And then I'll share the screen. And then and after I hang up, I'm going to find out what happened to StreamYard. I probably haven't been paying my credit card bill because I get automatic withdrawal each month to pay my credit card bill. But when I don't have money in my account, it might get rejected. So, and I know I don't have money in my bank account, but I have overdraft protection. So I tend to depend on that. But I probably overdrafted on the overdraft protection. So for some reason, I'm pretty sure that's what it is. But anyway, let's find that video. It was I think it was on Facebook, but I could maybe find it. Trans woman. How would I even find it? I hope it's a popular video. She didn't discipline them. She said, okay, kids, okay, what's going on? And like, she went in and she handled it like maybe I might have handled it. Like, okay, now you have to go here. Maybe I don't have to find the video. Just common sense. She was the adult. These are little children. Okay, now, and she gave them options. Now, do you want to go play in this place or do you want to go, just very? And then 2 of the kids said, okay, I'm going to go play here. I'm going to go play here. And then the 3rd kid was crying. And she took the kid. Okay, we're going to go over it because that child didn't make any decisions. So then, okay, you didn't want one of the options? Well, then the 3rd option is this one. And she kindly took the child and went to another playroom where there were other kids. And I don't remember what exactly, I just remember coming away with, wow, that particularly, again, here we go. Particularly the schools are a disaster. Our public schools in the United States, somewhere in the poor neighborhoods, even worse. We need whoever wants to be a teacher, man, woman, trans, they'll have to go through, obviously a background check. And I think a good rule of thumb is to never be alone with a child in a room, ever. Always be 2 people, or, something like that. Not even because you're a bad person, to avoid any other people from saying, because if you're let's say you're a trans woman who your goal was always to teach children because that's your dream and you want to, and imagine other people in the school may be against that. I know I knew a friend of mine, she's not trans, she's just and they drove her crazy because she's Latina and looks very Latina and and has some indigenous. She felt, I wasn't there, so I don't know, but she felt that they were bullying her because of her race. That's her perception of it. So maybe it's true, maybe it's not. But if it's true, and I'm sure it happens, even if it's not true in her case, people, the other teachers that don't like you try to, let's accuse her of this or to try to get you fired. So if you're a trans woman who just always dreamed of being a teacher and, then yeah, maybe a rule of thumb to protect yourself, unfortunately, even if you have absolutely no intentions. Of course you don't. I believe that. Maybe always your rule of thumb, never, which is kind of hard because if you're a teacher, but you'll have to, unfortunately, have to walk on eggshells until you're sure that the people are not your enemies. And, but by the same token, I don't believe they need to be, even if you happen to be a trans woman, I think you should be discreet about it. I'm a conservative too. So I don't think we need to be telling kids you should be you can be whatever you want. If you want to be a girl today, you can be a girl, and tomorrow you can. No, you're a boy, you're a girl. That's it. They'll figure it out if they feel weird, like that weird feel. Now, of course, you teach children, and I've said this before, you never treat anyone badly. If someone is different, you treat them nicely, or if you don't like them, then you just don't play with them or whatever, but you respect each other. That I definitely, but telling them if you're a boy and now, if like what happened in the case of Jazz Jennings, she was born and, she is a trans woman, or trans kid. Her, in her case, yes, okay, the subject was forced because she is a little girl and she didn't know what bathroom to go to because she didn't like to go to the boys. She looked like a boy, when she first started school, but she didn't want to go to the boys' bathroom. I don't know, maybe she got bullied in there a little bit. I don't know what, and then the school didn't want to let her to go into the girls' bathroom and all that, So there, the issue is forced. You have to address it. And then you explain to the children, well, Jazz, and that's what they did. Little girl, I almost want to cry, but I won't cry because now she's having other issues. It can't be easy. It can't be easy. But my heart goes out to that young lady. And then she has even other trans people, which, trans people themselves aren't always in agreement. I watch some conservative trans women and gay women and mainly that, a trans man. And, I try to follow a little of everyone, and they say some mean things that I don't agree with. They say, like, okay, children are children. You don't tell them, you teach them boy and girl because you got to start somewhere, and then you got to eventually teach them about sex, and then you can teach, when they get to an age appropriate, if their parents don't. I think parents need to teach them first and foremost, but some parents Christian parents can be very resistant. My family was not very devout, so we learned where babies came from at a very young age. As soon as we asked, my mom said, okay. Well, my brother asked. He was a little older than me. So my mom said, okay, he asked, oh, well, mommy and daddy, this and that, and kind of age appropriate. She didn't go into detail, but, we hug and we love each other. And the love is so great that the baby is created, something like that. You don't have to go into too much detail. But, so if your parents don't teach you, yes, I believe it's up to what else? Public education is going to have to teach children where babies come from before they start, getting into the danger zone, teenage pregnancy and all that. So you do have to teach them at least 12, 13, that's when my school, when I was young, taught it. I already knew everything, but, but some of the kids, even one very Christian mother said, my child, and they opted out. So, okay. But see, you should have allow them to opt out. You should allow opting out too. I don't know what's going on today. It's gone way overboard in some states. And it's gone way over. And that's the problem. The conservative states are too conservative and the liberal states are too, we've got to both kind of, I'll speak to conservatives now. If anyone's conservative watching, you got to teach them where babies come from, and there are cases where anyway, I guess it's hard for me to scold liberals, scold conservatives because I am more leaning to their side. But I do scold the far scold them, or I try to reel them in, a little bit, like, come on, guys, because there are Christians or people who per, per, purport to be Christians that, oh, gays, they need to die. That's not Christian. I'm sorry. If you claim to be Christian, you don't kill anyone unless it's self-defense. So, but that's my whole, so I'm in a ministry that's quite conservative. But even so, they don't say kill anybody. They say we love everyone. We try to guide them to the right way. But yeah, the ministry I'm in, it's teeny. There's three of us basically in a few. I mean, we merge with other churches. That's what it's not like we have our ministry and we have some followers, but we don't have regular. The pastor has her regular Sunday mass, but I don't know. I don't even go to it. I've been to it a couple of times, and there's a few people, they're regulars, but it's not a huge congregation, So, but my personal opinion is separate from the ministry, but it is a ministry that does not accept gays. Well, they accept gays in order to convert them to not being gay. That's the kind of ministry I'm in. So we don't do much other than help the homeless, and we reach out to people who are depressed, try to teach about avoiding drugs, AIDS, when we have these events, like the Thanksgiving meal is a big one every year. I really love working for the ministry. I really do, in spite of them not accepting certain things, which over time can change. Look at the Catholic Church has even changed since I was a little girl, and now they bless gay marriage, which doesn't mean they accept it yet, but they bless it. I'm not sure what it means. I think the Pope that is quite liberal for a Catholic, the current Pope. Now another Pope might come in and undo all that, but anyway, so the current Pope blesses gay marriage. I'm not quite sure what that means, but you can bet it means, look, guys, just tone it down a little. If you love each other, okay. I think that's the impression I get from the Pope, who happens to be an Argentine. So I don't know if that means I understand him better than anyone else, but I could see an Argentine, all right, just look, it doesn't really matter. Let them get married, as long as they're, and then my own personal adding to that, which I'm sure is on the mind of other Christians, is look, more stable families, more kids can be adopted, into stable 2-parent homes. So that's my whole thing. So if I ever were able to do my own ministry, but then I would have to be a pastor, I would be a little more liberal than the one I'm working in now, slightly more. I might not be much more though, but I'd be slightly more liberal, but I'd still be conservative. Someone just popped in and popped out when they heard me say I was slightly more liberal. So I guess that's it. What was I going to do? I was going to show you the video. I decided not to. So that's what I've been doing. So yeah, I've been busy, which is a good thing. But the bad thing is my dog. Oh, let me just show you my little doggy before we go. She's sleeping next to me. She's still sleeping a lot, which she's always been. She's always been a low energy dog, which is perfect for me because I'm trying to do my stuff. Like I know if I have to run a block and back, well, maybe a block is too much. She can get around. But I know that like if I have to like go across the yard to get something and come back when she's out, that she's not going to run off into the street, because by the time she gets to the street, she'll have fallen, or I can put her on the sidewalk and safely just let her walk around. And I lean back. That's why let me turn it. I'm trying to sit comfortably on this couch. So she's the perfect energy level for me. I definitely need a dog that's low energy like her. So I would either need to adopt a very old dog that's kind of like, those very old dogs that they're at the pound that, unfortunately they come with a lot of health issues sometimes too. So you got to deal with that side. Well, she does too though. So, But I would probably, if I didn't have her, I'd adopt probably an older dog that's got the energy level down because my energy is so high. So I need a low energy dog. See, other people say, like people who jog, they're good. People who run like every day, people who work out and like to run, they would do well with an energetic dog because those dogs need to run so they can run with the dog and stuff. And that's a nice running partner as always. But and a cat had kittens, but now they're gone. I was thinking of maybe adopting one to now that she's getting better. I thought I was going to lose her for a bit. I'll show you her in a minute. She looks horrific. She's eating. She's eating. So, oh, I got to make an appointment for her to check. You know. Anyway, so I was thinking of adopting one of the little kittens. You know, they're all thick. I don't want to bring it into the house yet. I'd have. So I was starting to pet them and feed them so they become friendly, and then I would take them to get the vet check them and then try to give them away or whatever. And I was going to adopt one for myself and because thinking I might lose her and I needed some. But it turns out she looks like she's going to survive at least for a bit longer. So I still want to adopt a kitten because if I adopt one of the sweet ones, I'm going to adopt the one that loves me. I'm not going to pick by color or whatever. There was a little black one, kind of like a tabby, but he's black. But then when you get up close, you see the tabby colors, like because the mother's a calico. She's beautiful. She has kittens like every twice a year. And I always say, oh, I'm going to get those kittens and save them. And then I never do. And then they all end up being wild. And now they're having more kittens. So this time I'm good. But anyway, my point is this. They were there last night. They're gone now. So maybe somebody took them. Maybe somebody said, oh, cute kittens and did what I was planning on doing. I hope that's what happened and not the opposite, that somebody decided to harm them every morning. So maybe someone decided to help them. I hope that's what happened. But now I'm gonna have to adopt one and pay for it. Well, you know what? I would have had to pay anyway because I would have had to pay to have all these kittens. Even if I go to the Animal Welfare League, they have one here. You can get cheaper services and you can get cheap spaying, and I think there's even free spaying. It still would have cost me money. So if I go and adopt a cat from one of those cat rescues, I'll have to pay an adoption fee. But you have to I'd have to get my parents to help me to adopt them because you need to offer an electrical bill or some kind of utility bill showing that you actually have a home in many times. But you know what? I know some people who adopted, and it's so bad. But well, they might have adopted from someone else. Who knows how they got that cat? But they had the cat, and they're on welfare, and then they had to be evicted or something. I don't know. And then the cat, of course, ended up, just being abandoned. So I wouldn't do that if I adopted it. I would be sure that, but many times cat adoption or pet adoption places, they want to make sure you have a stable home, either a stable rent or they obviously would prefer it be an owned home. But I think because you want to know that the children that you saved will go to a stable home. See, they're insisting on stable homes for pets. We got to find stable homes for children. And anytime I spend money or do anything for animals now, I always think we're doing this for an animal, and I love animals as much as I do. We need to be also doing it for children. So what I've spent on this dog, I'm not spending, I'll spend a little more on, the checkups and all that they're doable. But I'm not going to spend any exorbitant amounts to save her if she doesn't recover from this point forward. Now she's walking. So that, if she wasn't walking, I had even said, oh, maybe a little physical therapy, but, maybe I would have tried a little physical therapy. And then I was going to say, if she can't walk on her own, I was thinking of ending it for her. But thankfully, she's walking by herself now. I'll pull her out in a second to show you. She's sleeping. You know what, though? She'll probably growl at me because she's sleeping comfortably. So if I pull her out to show you, she's going to growl. Well, let me see. You want to come see my friends? Can you come see my friends? I'm skinny. She's looking at me with a mean face. I mean, I can tell her look, but I'll try it. Let's see. You want to come see my friends, baby? Let's go. Come here. That's my baby girl. No growl growl. No growl growl at mommy. No growl growl. Oh, she's a growl growl. See, she's mad. I messed up her sleep. You growling? Ooh. All right, I'll put you back. Yeah, and see, they had to shave her side because they did an ultrasound. Because first they said maybe she ate something. I knew she hadn't, but I said, and see, her back is curved. She's always been like that, and I can straighten her out. I'm thinking maybe I could help her, and I do this sometimes. I kind of stretch her. She doesn't complain, to kind of help her stretch to straighten her back. But she's a dachshund mix, and she was born with a crooked back. So, with a back so long. And that they shaved her here because they had to give her an IV there. They shaved her on this side because they gave her another IV there. Her back leg, they gave her another. She had pokes and sticks, and then I have to stick her with every day with an ultravenous fluids that they gave me, which I haven't been doing. But she's getting better now. But every time I stick her with the IV, she screams and she's eating now, so she's not as dehydrated as she was, but she's better, and she's walking. All right, baby, we'll put you back to sleep. Let's have another little rest. And then in the afternoon, she'll get another boost of energy. All right, okay, there we go. She gets angry when I bother her rest. All right, well, I'm going to go, guys. I probably left some, what do you call it when you're a hanging sentence? Or a drop-off sentence. I'm probably talking and I didn't finish a thought and then I jumped to another thought. That's how I am. I take some medicine now. I went to a doctor, say, could you help me focus? And it's kind of maybe helping a little bit. I'm still a little bit, I multitask, but I don't do it well necessarily. I could be a little more efficient. In an office, if I'm in an office working, people are amazed. I can multitask. Okay. But it's all, well, first of all, it's sitting down stuff. So that's like, it's multitasking projects that are on paper or on the internet. I don't have to get the stuff I'm doing for the house. I have to get up. I have to go to Home Depot to pick the paint. I have to go, to buy the things that the painter needs, so it's multitasking physically that's difficult for me. I'm starting to know myself more. But it's a lot of mental work also being a contractor. I'm not a contractor. I'm doing contracting work for the first time on my parents' home. And I'm going to learn how to do it because then I would be a very valuable secretary to a contractor, Like maybe the contractor needs to go out and run out and do all the stuff and he needs to throw his receipts at me. Because as a contractor, you have the physical part, go pick the paint. Well, if you're a large contractor, you've got all that set. You've got the paint in your own office, or wherever, in your own warehouse or something. But if you're just a first-time contractor like me, I don't have a warehouse. I don't have so, but it's kind of fun too. And if I mess up, it's my parents' house. They're not going to kick me out, They're not going to give me a bad reference. So if you're interested in doing some kind of work for the first time, find a friend or a family member, who'll be patient with you. Because that's the other thing. A real contractor would have had this one and done, the whole house, the outside, the inside. I'm doing it. Okay, we'll do the kitchen. Now we're going to do the, and I think about the other projects, but exterior paint is not the same as interior paint. So, that I bought just the interior paint. A contractor would have said, okay, we got to get the exterior paint for the outside of the house. And we got to get two colors because the walls in the kitchen are one color and and they've got it all organized and they've got excellent secretaries who probably do all that for them. Okay, well, the kitchen's got, and they probably have or they should, if they don't, have an Excel sheet, kitchen, color, code of color number. For example, here I am using my manual gesture. You'll have a list of all the rooms in the house. For example, if it's someone who's going to hired you to redo their entire house, you're an interior designer, let's say. Okay, color for kitchen. What did the customer pick? Customer choice, your suggestion, maybe, because if you're an interior designer, you might suggest this color would work better with this color, you may suggest a color, and then the client says, well, yeah, you're right, but I think that this other color is better. But it's good to keep track of what you discussed in an Excel sheet, because then something might come up in the future, these unforeseen things. And it turns out, oh, actually, remember back then when we were talking about the paint colors? As it turns out, maybe that first color would have been better now that we know this. That's how women do it. Men, that kind of work drives many men crazy, not all. Anytime I say men, women, trans women, don't take it as everyone. We know that there are always exceptions. But generally, men, they don't want all this information. They just want to know, what color do you want? What color do you want on the walls? What color do you want? They don't always think, oh, well, this color would match better with this color, especially if you're working small, with a painter. I hired a painter to do the kitchen. And he was a man and I'm a woman. Again, in general terms. So I was telling him about all the plans that I was going to do and what I think that we should be able to do for. And he's like, what color do you want the kitchen? Apparently I drive the poor man crazy, because we had to drive to and from Home Depot, because also he had to tell me what brushes he needed, what things he needed to do the job. And I have no idea. I'm in Home Depot. I'm like, well, he says, get a paintbrush. Okay, well, there are 20,000 paintbrushes to choose from, so I had to come back and get it. And he ended up buying a roller. It wasn't even a paintbrush. Rolls, and I've seen them before. You roll the paint on, it's not a paintbrush. And see, he is a man who's done this kind of work before and assumes everybody knows it. It was common sense to him that I would get a roll. Well, go to Home Depot, buy the brushes, get the paint, and meanwhile I'll prime the surface or whatever. So I get to Home Depot, it's like, okay, paintbrush. And there's, like I said, a zillion paintbrushes, and like a thick one. I thought, okay, I'll get a thick paintbrush because it's a big job. So I'm not going to get a skinny paintbrush, obviously. So I could kind of what do you call it? Tone it down. Not tone it. Break it down to a few choices. Oh, I'm on the camera, Papa. I'm talking to my friends. I'm on the camera. Is lunch ready? Okay, yeah, I'm coming. Cici. Oh, spaghetti's ready. I'm going soon. So I could kind of, but still, I was like, what kind of bristles and what kind of, I needed help. I didn't feel secure. Maybe I would have picked some things and it would have been okay. I wouldn't have bought a roller. I wouldn't have known to buy a roller for the kitchen cabinet. I know you use a roller for a flat surface, but why would he need a roller for the kitchen? So he bought a little roller and a big roller as well. I came back, got him. And then on the way, the drive there, it's a friend of mine, kind of friend, but someone I'm familiar with. So the whole way there. And then after we finished the kitchen, blah, 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 and I want to blah, 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 blah. And I could see him glazing over. And I stopped. I said, okay, I'm probably talking too much and, whatever. And yeah, a little bit later, he's like, what color do you want the walls? What color do you want the cabinets? And I sensed the impatience. So but then after that, we got into a little dispute. And the dispute was basically woman's mentality and men's mentality as I, so I don't know if he'll be coming back to paint. He was going to do the outside of the house too. I don't know, his choice. And I'm willing to have him back to paint the outside, but I think I drove him crazy, so I got to learn to, when you're working with people, especially in my case, I'm going to say, especially with men, I'm going to try to say, okay, I want the walls this color. I want this color. I need you to come with me to Home Depot to buy the brushes because I don't know which ones you'll need, something like that. And just pick the brushes you need. Okay, that's the one. We're getting the pay. I got to be more thunk, thunk, thunk. And then I'll be more efficient. So I learned. So now for the outside of the house, which is going to be a big to-do, getting the permits, dealing with, the city, it's a challenge, but I'm excited about it at the same time. But anyway, I'm going to go eat lunch, you guys. I'm hungry. So here's my update, and I hope my other regular viewers that are sleeping over in Europe will watch this later. I've been talking too long. Bye, everyone. Come back soon, and you'll follow me on my journey to getting my house painted, starting with getting a permit. Bye, everyone. Oh, end stream.